Hey guys, it's Sarah Schneider at nurturelife.org and the Nourish Mama. If you are new to me or you're new to the group, I'm a holistic nutritionist and I help mamas reset, heal, and nourish every aspect of their life so that they can show up in a way that really serves them. Yesterday we talked about food identity and how it our food choices extend far beyond just, I really want to eat some healthy fat today, so I'm going to choose an avocado over mayo, right? Food identity really extends far beyond what we choose for ourselves, which foods we choose for ourselves. And so today I wanted to kind of, piggyback on that a little bit and just talk about identity in general. So one of the things that I notice working with my clients is that when we struggle with our weight for a significant period of time in our life, especially when we struggle when we're young, right? So one of the things that I talk about is my own history, my own stories, right? And I actually struggled from the time I was a little girl. So about second, third grade-ish, I started getting heavy. By fourth, fifth grade, I was very, very heavy. And I really went up and down, all the way into my early 20s. So, hey, Pam. So a part of my struggle when I was, losing and gaining was this has become a part of my identity. I was that person, right? As much as I was a daughter or a college student or whatever labels that I had attached to myself, one of my identities was that I was the type of person that struggled with their weight, right? And you tell people this, you're like, I've always struggled with my weight. Hey, Joan. And this is one of the things that can really hinder our transformation or our success. Hey, Stacy, really hinder our transformation or our success is when we internalize that weight struggle as a part of our identity, as a part of who we are. And what I see in my own nutrition practice when I work with clients is that once this becomes a part of you, and especially like I was saying, if this was something that you experienced in your childhood and it really shapes who you are, right? When you experience struggles with your weight when you're young and when you're impressionable and when your brain is still developing, you actually wire your brain for that to be a part of your identity. Especially if this is something, if you have a similar background to me and you came from generation after generation after generation of people who struggle with their weight. Not only is it your identity that you are one of those people that struggle with weight, but you come from a family who struggles with their weight. So it's not only your own personal identity, it's your family identity, right? It's who we are as a people. It's who all of the people that you love dearly, this is just how we are. It's like if we were all blondes or something, right? It's the same thing. It's a part of who you are. And the problem with this is when this is so ingrained into the core of who we are, that struggle with weight, we don't know how to do things differently. We don't know how to live a life that we wouldn't have that struggle, right? I know this is completely off topic, but when I was going through my divorce and it was horrible, right? Like most divorces are. It was not amicable. It was very toxic. It was a very difficult time in my life. And one of the things that my mom said after it had been finalized, what are you going to do with yourself? Like, what are you going to do with all this extra time? Like, what are you going to do with this big new void in your life that piece, has been removed? And it took me a little while to figure it out, right? Because that part of my identity had been removed. I wasn't this person going through the divorce. I wasn't this person in this really toxic space. I was on the other side of it, and I really didn't know what to do with myself. And it's the same thing with weight, right? Once you remove the struggle, right? Once you remove the struggle, then what are you left with? What are you going to spend all your time focusing on? What are you going to spend all your time doing? When you can't fall back into that. You can't lean back into that weight struggle. That can't be who you are. That can't be your reason. That can't be your explanation for not getting things done, right? That can't be your reason for not showing up in the world. How are you going to reconcile that with yourself? And this is what I see a lot in my practice, is this idea that if you have been battling your weight, right? And that's another term that I don't like to use, but it's a term that I hear a lot. I've been battling my weight. You're at war with yourself, right? Or I've been struggling with my weight. When we hear these things over and over and over, and we tell ourselves these things over and over and over, it becomes ingrained in you. And when you start, pulling back some of these struggles, and you start, things like, just like when my clients discover their Nurture Blueprint, and they realize that, oh, this is the reason why this isn't happening, and I'm going to take this food out, and then the weight starts like coming off easily and effortlessly. It feels easy and effortless. Then what are you left with? You're not struggling, so what are you going to do with that, right? How are you going to reconcile that with yourself? Because that is a part of your identity. You are the girl who goes up and down, up and down, up and down. You're the yo-yoer, right? Only battle I have is in my head rather than weight. Yeah, so that's true too, Stacy. But that's another thing, is this, and the thing about using these things as a part of our identity, it's also a limiting belief, right? And it's the same thing for you, Stacy. So only battle I have is in my head rather than my weight, right? It's the same thing. You have committed to this idea that this is a part of your identity, that you are this type of person, right? That you have this battle within yourself in your head. So what if that battle disappeared? What if you were able to heal that part of yourself, and you didn't have that part of yourself to have to face every day? How would that look for you? And that's scary. That's where the uncertainty comes in, and that's where that fear of failure comes in, right? So today I just wanted to kind of touch on this identity part, and why it's so important to really have the resources to be able to understand how to get through that struggle, how to get through that limiting belief, surrender it, and then be able to kind of rewire your thinking so that it's not a part of your identity. Because the truth is, these are just limiting beliefs that you have actually enmeshed into your identity. One of the things that I noticed when I started really losing the weight, and this is a really strange thing to think about, but I remember thinking how was I gonna be a mom? And I know that sounds really weird, but like, I didn't know, like, all the women in my family had weight problems. All the women in my family were overweight, and they were super loving and, very physically loving and hugging and all that kind of stuff. And I literally wondered, and I hate that word literally, people know that. But I remember thinking, like, how am I going to be lovable for my kids, right? Because you can't do that being thin. Like, it was a part of my identity. Like, I never even thought about how I could be a mom and also be a thin mom. How could I be a loving mom if I wasn't all nice and fluffy, right? Because it was a part of my identity. I thought that that's how it had to be. I think at this point I've lived with it for so long that I probably wouldn't know what to do with myself or vision how it would look like. Yes, that's the thing. And this is why I think that sometimes we get paralyzed. So when we have internalized some of these things as a struggle within ourselves, as a part of our identity, then when you remove that struggle, if you choose to remove that struggle, then who are you on the other side? That's a really scary thing, and it's something that I think that a lot of us subconsciously know to be true, and may even self-sabotage because we're so afraid of who would emerge because we don't know that person. Such a great way to frame it all, Sarah. Once you remove the struggle, how are you going to reconcile the new identity? Yeah, it's a huge question, right? It's totally loaded, but it's true. So once you remove the struggle, who are you going to become? right? How are you going to reconcile this new identity? I don't know, right? And it's scary as hell. I've had clients that have had that moment where, we're halfway through a program and they're like, holy crap, I'm becoming this new version of myself, this better version of myself, this more authentic version of myself. And yet I don't know her, right? Like, I don't know her and it's scary. And I'm going to have to like get acquainted with this new person. I'm going to have to discover this new person. I'm going to have to see how she shows up. I'm going to have to see how she handles life. I'm going to have to see how she's a mom. I'm going to have to see how she's a partner, a spouse. Without the extra weight, without the narcissistic ex, without the job. I'm working on it now. I'm filling it with love and joy and fun and lightness. Yes. And that's the thing is, Pamela, you're going through a ginormous transition. And this is the same thing for weight as much as it is just transition in general. When we're transitioning a part of our life and something big is removed out of it, right? A part of your identity. Like Pamela, she worked for the US government for years and years and years. This was a part of your identity and it's been removed. And so how are you going to fill that space, right? Who are you going to become? Like, it's kind of scary thinking about it all. Oh, and my detox juice starts tomorrow. Yay, green juice. That's funny. Just be careful that it doesn't have too much sugar. That's my only thing about detox juicing, unless you're making it yourself. And if you're making it yourself, it's better to use, I know this is like not on the topic, but to use the entire pulp. So like, don't throw out all that pulpy stuff that comes out. Put that in your juice. And that will slow the metabolism down and keep your blood glucose levels flat. Okay, sorry, that was like a total detour. So anyways, okay, so that is the fear, right? It's the fear of what it really boils down to, what the root cause of everything is, because that's what we do at the Nurse Life, we get down to the root cause. The root cause is once we remove that part of ourselves, right? Once we have realized that that actually isn't a part of our identity, it's just some limiting belief that we have, and we open up this space for us to become more of our authentic self, for us to align better with our authentic self. The thing that is so scary about it is, it's that uncertainty. It's the fear of uncertainty. We just don't know who is going to emerge. And that feels scary. Retirement day one, someone else's turn to distract. Yeah, Stacey, since you and Joan tend to distract me, and collectively, holy crap, the two of you together, you guys are always distracting me. And so what's really important is when you are transitioning in life, when you are doing a lot of head and heart work, and you are becoming more of your authentic self, and you are really sinking into who that person is, it's going to take a very distinctive type of head and heart work to really identify who that person is and to get comfortable with that new version of yourself. I remember that when I had lost the weight, I got down to a size 0, which in the weight loss journey transformation world, that's like the ends all be all, but I wasn't comfortable with the person that I was. And some of it was because I just didn't feel comfortable in my body, because I didn't know how to feel comfortable in my body. I hadn't done a lot of the head and the heart work that I should have done. I did a lot of the nutrition stuff, but I didn't do a lot of the head and heart work. And so I didn't know how to feel comfortable in my body, regardless of size. And 2, it was because this new person had emerged and I had no idea who she was. And I was afraid that she wasn't going to be enough. So here's something really big. A lot of people will lose the weight, right? And then they get scared because they don't know who that person is. They don't know how that person is going to show up. And then all those limiting beliefs that say you're not that person. Like you may be, dabbling in that right now. You may be that temporarily, but you're not that person, not long term. And the truth is, you may be that person long term, but it's scary. It's scary to sink into that. And to consider like what would happen if you failed. Of course, I ordered it in a box. I have a juicer where I use everything, but it's just, I know those are such a pain to clean, and that's why I don't do smoothies very often. I have a really nice Blendtec blender that'll make whole juices and stuff. I don't use it very often because, yeah, it's kind of a mess. But you have more time to clean it, yeah. We are increasing your engagement. There you go, Pam. Way to think about it positively. Yeah. So you guys have any questions on, or like, I guess one of the things that I would want to know from you guys, what are those identities that you know you have that are something that's tied to your identity that you would want to unwire and rewire in a way that serves you? Does that make sense? I don't know if I asked that right, but I will wait for your comments. And I know, Stacey, you had kind of mentioned that yours is more of like the head and the heart work, right? All the mental stuff, the mental clarity and all of that good stuff. And that's really important as well. I got distracted. All that juicing stuff got me distracted. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about fear of uncertainty. There's something that happens when we feel uncertain, right? Because the whole point of, like, I guess human needs is to kind of like lean into that security, the safety, and all of that good stuff. It's a lot harder to take the path less traveled, right? That's why we tend to lean into ease. We tend to lean into security. It's one of the, repeat the question, please. Okay, so what is something that you have been struggling with, right? Year over year, and you have kind of pulled that into your identity, like that struggle has become a part of your identity, right, as a person. So for example, like, you know, my name is Sarah, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, you know, I've always struggled with my weight, I've always had this problem. It was a part of my identity, right? It was something that defined me. But the problem was, it wasn't a part of the core essence of who I am. Does that make sense? Speaking of job as identity, I was going to grab lunch during my course today. I covered my mouth, walking past two kids smoking. Yeah. And one blurted out, "At least I'm not unemployed." I was nice and ignored it, but it made me think my value isn't based on whether I'm employed or not. Nope. No, it's not, right? How did they know you weren't unemployed? I don't even, how do two kids even know that? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, that's the thing. And a lot of this comes down to worth and value, right? Stacey, you totally nailed it. Like, that you could easily put into your identity. I'm, you know, unemployed. I struggle with employment, right? You could easily pull this into become a part of your identity. So then what happens when you get a job? If that's the case, if you pull this into a part of who you are, then what happens when you get a job? You're not fulfilling who you are, but it's not who you are. Does that make sense? And so that's why I think that it requires a different set of head and heart work. Like I was telling you guys, when I struggled with my weight, I lost the weight, but I didn't do the head and the heart work, and I didn't know that person. And I had to do a specific set of head and heart work to learn who I was at the core beingness of me, right? Probably saw me at the job center earlier as I had an appointment. Oh, maybe. Well, sorry that they were all ugly to you. Isn't everybody like all excited and busy celebrating William and Kate Middleton's new baby? That's all I see. I read the Daily Mail, which is a UK publication, for my news, and that's all I've seen for the last like 3 days. Is all about that baby. He's very cute, but it has trumped the Trump news. It has trumped all like political stuff here in the U.S. The birth of the baby, which is actually kind of nice because I appreciate that. I would rather see news articles on that than all of the crazy politics going on around here. Okay, so like I was saying, when we have associated something with our identity and it's misguided, we have to do a specific set of head and heart work so that we can, I guess, better develop our relationship to self. Because when you develop your relationship to self, that's when you're able to release some of those things that are not actually a part of your identity, and you're able to really get comfortable with the real authentic version of yourself. And that's when extraordinary things start happening. That's when you start transitioning into who you really are, and then being able to, once you're aligned with who you are, then you're able to manifest all of that goodness into your life, right? Personally, I don't care. Daily Mail is a fascist trash rack. That's funny. Daily Mail. I don't know all these things, Stacy. I love being a size 0 and 2, but people told me I look sick, and even so much more unwanted attention from leechy men. Ooh. So there's another thing. All of those things that we tell ourselves, like this is when like the limiting beliefs come in. So if I get down to that size, then I'm going to get, you know, a lot of attraction from nasty, yucky men, right? So subconsciously we start sabotaging ourselves so that we don't get to that point where we have to face a situation that doesn't feel good and is complicated, right? Because we lean into ease, we lean into what feels good, and that is security and certainty. So we know that if we're at this size, then we're not going to get those looks or those stares or those conversations. But the truth is, that's not even how it works. Right? It's not really how it works. I'm not even joking. The UN confirmed it. That's versus the National Choir of the UK. I know. I love. I know. It is a little. It's a little trashy. I mean, they have some good stories, but yeah, it's. So, why do people tell you look sick, Pam? Just curious. Attention from all the men, I should say. Well, but if you're cool with all the, let's be honest, ladies. If we're single and we're getting attention from, you know, really respectable, like interesting, handsome gentlemen, then I think you would be fine with that. But that's probably not what you're referring to. So some of these are limiting beliefs. Leechy men hit on anything that moves. I'm in all men's clothes and they still hit on me. Stacy. That's hilarious. Yeah. So yes. I just find it leechy men. I found that like a really funny term. I like that. Start using it. I mean, I know exactly what you guys are saying, but I haven't heard it in that context before. But Pamela lived in the UK for years because I was all skin and bones at size 0. So here's the thing, everybody, and I'm an openly gay woman, right, Stacey? That also is probably a big like hint that like you're not interested. So the thing about it is everybody shakes out at a different size. So, you know, I'm not a size 0 anymore. I'm, you know, well, size 2. And that really feels good to me. It feels very easy to sustain. It feels very comfortable for me. You know, I like being this size. It feels good. If I were to attempt to become a size 0, I might start doing things that were unhealthy, right? Unhealthy to get to that place. And people may have that same kind of reaction to that. Because it's not where my body shakes out. Some people's bodies, it shakes out at a 6'8", and that's where they need to be. Welcome, JC, Leechy Man. That's funny. But yeah, not everybody was designed to be a healthy size 0. Yes, are there, you know, supermodels that eat cheeseburgers and they're healthy people and they're size 0? Absolutely. But not everybody is designed to shake out at that place, right? Some people, their hips, like just their skeleton, like their hips literally could not fit into a size 0 because it's just not, that's just not how their body was designed, right? And it's the same thing. And especially as we get older, I think that we all become a little bit more secure in who we are. And that's when we realize, you know what, my goal isn't to become that high school weight I was back in the day. In my case, smaller than my high school weight. But my goal is not to become, you know, that high school weight. My goal is really to become healthy and to have a strong body and to be able to do all the things that I want to do and not to feel uncomfortable in my body. That's the goal. I'm hoping to get back down to a size 4-6 as I start to train for a marathon. Yes. Yeah. But see, but that's the thing, is your why is different, right? Like, I'm not trying to get time down to a size 0 so that I can be skinny. Your goal is to become that 4-6 range because you want to start training for the marathon, right? Because you want to be strong, because you want, you know, to be able to accomplish something. That's a completely different why than the whole, I want to be a size 0 and I want to be skinny. That's not helpful to anybody. That doesn't give you anything, right? Except for that, I guess, gold star saying, yeah, I'm a size 0. Yeah, great aging. Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is, the older we get, the more our hormones shift, right? We are going to experience more weight gain. So even if you've never struggled with weight your whole life, even if that was never part of your identity, right? As we get older, yes, our bodies shift and it changes, especially after we have children, and our hormones shift, and yes, it makes it a little bit different. Weight loss looks a little bit different when we get older. But it is still possible. I've had several women, and I know you're not to this point, Pamela, but I've had several women who are in that menopause range and have been successfully able to lose the weight because they're working on their relationship to food, because they're working on their relationship to self, and because they're figuring out what their nourishment blueprint looks like right now, today, for their body. At 48 kg, after my illness, I was a size 6 and didn't feel healthy. Women's clothes for me tend to be uncomfortable because of the fitting. I have butterfly small chest, large waist, so it's a typical female figure. But Stacey, your size 6 in the UK is vastly different than a size 6 here in the US. So that's pretty small, right? And I imagine you may not have felt healthy, and that's the thing. There's a lot of girls or women or ladies that are a size 0 and their bodies aren't healthy. I was reading an article the other day about a woman who she had disordered eating, and then she went on this health kick, right? She was going to get healthy and really learn how to nourish her body, and she cut out so many foods from her diet, all the foods that were deemed bad and unacceptable by all these different diet gurus, and she was, you know, this Instagram sensation, and yet she was losing her hair. She was miserable. Her body, her bones were weakened, right? She had all these tests done because her bones literally weakened because she had cut all of this stuff out and had become supremely healthy. And what happened was that supremely healthy wasn't healthy at all. Stacey, I'm a total rectangle, not a pear shape. When I lived in England, I could only wear German designers, not British pants. Yeah, yeah. I like German designers. Schneider picked me up a new vest the other day from Switzerland when he was there, and it's a German brand. It's that Jack Wolfstein, and it's so much longer than what I would get here in the U.S. And a small was quite roomy. So yeah, I was like, I like these German brands. Think a 12 here is a 16 there. Yeah, probably something like that. It's no, if it's if it's a 6 in the UK, I think it's a 2 here in the US. I think it's that. Pamela, you know better than I do because you lived in the UK for a long time and you live in the States. What do you think? Yeah, we definitely have larger sizes here and smaller sizes there. But either way, let's recap. Let's bring this full circle. Stacey will, or Pamela will let us know because I don't know. When we have struggles in life, and it doesn't have to be weight, but because we're at the Nourish Model, we're going to talk about weight, right? When you have struggles in life and you have actually ingrained these struggles into your identity, that is when we notice that people tend to self-sabotage, and this is all subconscious. You're not doing this on purpose, but we tend to self-sabotage. We get paralyzed. We don't keep taking the steps to get to where we want to be, because we know that if we were going to do the work, if we were going to become this new person, we would have to reconcile within ourselves who this person is, what this person looks like, and how this person is going to show up in the world. And that feels scary, right? That feels really scary. Oh, good, I'm correct. I love being correct, Pam. I was telling one of my friends that the other day. I was like, I love being right. And when I have like been told that I was right about something, like I get a little like too excited. It's as if I just, you know, won $1 million, and it's just because I was right. So yeah, that really fuels me. That's not probably the best side of myself, but yeah, I love being right. So anyways, yeah, then you have to start reconciling who this person is, how they're going to show up in the world, how are they going to be a mom, how are they going to be a spouse, how are they going to show up in their career. And this is the biggest thing. When you have put struggle into your identity and you remove that particular struggle, you also have to decide that you're going to show up, right? So all of those excuses, all of those explanations as to why you couldn't do that have been eliminated. And that feels scary too, because you don't have those to lean back on, because that's not a part of you who you are now, right? So you don't have that excuse anymore because it's not a part of you. You can't lean back on it. And that's really scary as well. I like men's clothes, 36 inches, 36 inches, whenever you shop, you go. It might be strange, but I like being proven wrong. Wow, Stacey, that's weird. It's not weird. It's just very different than me. It is interesting because men's clothes is really easy and straightforward. Like you said, 36 inches is 36 inches, and it doesn't matter what designer, it doesn't matter what brand. But you can get like a size 6 in one clothing brand and a size 6. You can even get a size 6 in this. 2 size 6s in the same clothing brand, and they're cut completely differently, and one will fit and one won't. So yeah, it is interesting how that works out. Okay, so if you have been struggling and you are like just done, you're done struggling, you don't want to do this anymore, but you know that you're that type of person that tends to self-sabotage, you know you're that type of person that is scared. Like you're scared of who that person might be, right? Who is that person that's going to emerge? How are you going to get acquainted with her? How are you going to get to know her? How are you going to be able to feel comfortable with this new version of yourself, this more authentic version of yourself? Nourish Life is the program that we're going to focus on all of this kind of stuff, right? Nourish Life starts May 7th. That is in 7 days. I'm like super excited. It's 9 months long. It's intentional living, complete nourishment. So we're really going to focus on discovering self, bettering our relationship to food, bettering our relationship to self, but also really working on different themes. So nourishment, mindfulness, emotions, limiting beliefs, self-care, and self-love. And we're going to work on each one of these themes or topics based on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual change, growth, and evolving, right? So if that's something that you're really interested in, if you're ready to like go all in and really transform your life in all aspects, right? Not just, you know, losing the weight, not just you know, bettering your relationship to food or bettering your relationship to self and all of that, right? But in all aspects of your life, this is the program for you. So it starts May 7th. If you have heard a lot about Nourishment Blueprint, I know a lot of my clients have, you know, done the Nourishment Blueprint. They're on the Nourish Mama. They like to talk about it and their success. If that's something that you want to do, it's 3 months long. And it starts May 21st. So we have 2 things going. May 7th is Nourish Life. May 21st is Nourishment Blueprint. And if you do Nourish Life, I'm going to give you Nourishment Blueprint completely free, like absolutely free. I'm just going to, you know, manually put you into the membership site. And like I said, there's a membership site. So it's chock full of resources to help you transform all aspects of your life. So if that's something that you want to do, if you're interested in that, let me know. Like I said, it starts May 7th. So that is, it's May 1st today. Oh, May 7th is Monday. I should know that because May 5th is my daughter's birthday. She's my Cinco de Mayo baby. And then my birthday's on the 30th. So I'm trying to decide what the, how we're going to celebrate here in the Nourish Mama. And it'll probably be a gift to you. Because it's my birthday, I'm going to gift you something on May 30th. So stick around. If you need me or if you need any help, let me know. Here, I will put this on here. Actually, you know what? I need to do my calendar thing. If you are interested in the Nourish Life and you want to figure out if this is the right program for you, I am going to set the link up here so that you can click on it and you can get to my calendar and make an appointment. Monday, because it's a bank holiday here. Oh, okay. Bank holiday, huh? Copy link address. Maybe this will work. See if that works. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's not a bank holiday here, I don't think. The Cinco de Mayo is a big day here in Texas. In fact, my daughter loves Mexican food, and I always tell her, I'm like, we can't go out to dinner on your birthday because it'll be crazy, right? So we're gonna go and pick up takeout and bring it home so that we don't have to, like, you know, fight the crowds and join into the debauchery that is Margaritaville. So if you need anything, let me know. If you're interested, yeah, I know, right? Thinking of my own. If you're interested in the Nourish Mama, if you're interested in Nourish Life, starts May 7th. If you're interested in Nourishment Blueprint, starts May 21st. Either way, get on a call with me. Let's chat. I'll ask you a few questions, help you pinpoint where some tweaks in your Nourishment Blueprint can be, give you some actionable steps that you can start doing today. It's absolutely free. If you decide to do the program, great. If you decide that it's not, you're just not ready for it or it's not for you, that's fine too. Stay in the Nourish Mama. We would love to have you here. It's a sisterhood of wonderful ladies that are super supportive. So it's May Day for us. My birthday is usually at Easter. May Day, that's an interesting one. I don't know what May Day is, but May Day sounds to me, do you know what May Day sounds? May Day sounds to me like an Air Force term of like May Day, you know what I mean? Like they're like going down. Oh, it's celebrating, is it celebrating International Day? May Day, UK. What is this? I have to look it up, Stacy. I'm curious now. Oh, it's celebrated around the world, except for in the US. Yes. This is what I love about Nourish. So Nourish Life, I don't talk about this a lot, but Nourish Life was the program that I left. I left corporate America because I knew that I wanted to create this business. I wanted to create this program so that others can have that same transformation that I have seen in my clients. And so this is a fantastic program. Like, I cannot talk highly about it enough. And you're going to get the 6 expert series. So there are 6 guest experts that are going to come on, and they are going to share their healing modalities and resources so that you'll have extra healing on top of all of the stuff that we'll be working on together. It comes from Maypole Dancing for Beltane, which is today. Oh, okay. May 1st is a big day for workers, day everywhere but here. Okay, that's why I'm like, I haven't really heard about this before. But Pamela, you have lived the world. Like you have lived in every part of the world that I know of. So that's awesome. Okay, so if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll put some information up there so that you guys can click the links. And that is it, my dears. So you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk with you guys soon.